What's going on, you guys? We got yet another unboxing for you. This is a jig coming from Cajun Country Arms.com. Get over there, check those guys out. They're putting out some really great stuff for all different types of parts kits. And I'm sure if you gave him an email and asked him if he to make something custom and you're willing to pay for it, he might be able to help you out. But he's the guy to check out, you guys. But as you can see from what we've got here so far, we just pulled the bottom plate out. This right here that I'm holding in my hand now is the insert that is going to tie the frame together, and then our small parts back here, and we'll go ahead and throw this priority mail bag out of the way. Alright, so in our little bag here should be our hardware pack stuff that's going to go into the areas like this hole here in the center that's going to pull our magwell block flush so that everything comes together well. It's really nicely made. As you can see, that the machine work on it is spectacular. For what you're paying for these kits, you're getting a whole lot for your money, you guys. So you can't find any of this other stuff anywhere else on the market. So he's putting out a lot of one-off stuff, which is really nice. This indention here in the slide is where part of the screw that's going to pull the magwell block together is going to insert and be down in the this block here a little bit, so that it's not pushing your frame up from being flush on this block. So it looks like we've got a couple of looks like L or J type hooks here, and some small parts that's going to help tie our frame together. I'm just going to go ahead and assemble some of this stuff real quick, and then we'll go ahead and cut, and we'll come back with the frame assembled. Now, it doesn't come with instructions, but I will tell you guys, whatever kit that you do buy, I'm going to, anytime I buy a kit from him, I'm going to make a video on it showing you guys and illustrating what's going to be done. He's going to have a YouTube channel here pretty soon, and he's, the site's going under some construction right now, but you can go on the website, and for the pictures, you will see a lot of pictures on how to put a lot of these kits together. So as you can tell here in this part of the video that I've got everything put together. As you can tell from the front up here, these little hooks are going to hook into the holes in that bottom plate and hold everything flush onto that bottom plate, so everything's nice and flat all the way across. Now that's granted that you clean up these parts kits enough so that there's not anything in the way holding the frame off of the plate, anything like that. You need to make sure they're really clean, all the slags off of them, before you assemble it in the jig. Because if you don't, these jigs, as tight as the tolerances are on them, they're not going to fit correctly. As you can see here where I've got everything assembled, the magwell block, like I was talking here, this is very important that you have this lined up properly. As you'll see when I measure it out in just a minute, it doesn't fit all the way down, but you've got enough space that if you need to adjust this bottom part of the grip, that you can pull it in or push it down so that it fits correctly. You'll see everything's sitting nice and flush because I've cleaned this kit up already. And where you see this little plate on the other side, you see this little screw at the top up here. This is sitting directly on top of that little CNC piece of aluminum that goes in the bottom of the frame that I showed you earlier, that's sitting on top of this plate. Now, whenever you do put this magwell block in there, make sure, and I want to say the spec is 3.6 000, however many zeros you want to go. That is the proper amount of space you need to have between the bottom part of this magwell and the frame. Now, for those of you welding, which there's no other way to do this, so for those of you that are about to weld this, add about 1/1000 or 2 of an inch to your total here, so that when you get a little bit of shrinkage in your weld, it's going to pull into spec. Because if you put it precisely at spec and you go to weld it, what you're going to end up with is it's actually going to draw it in a little bit below spec. So it's going to be a little bit tighter than it should be. Or I guess in this way, the way the magazine on this works, it's going to be looser than it should be. So you actually want to extend that out to maybe 3.65 or something like that, or however much you think is necessary for the way that you're welding it. Now up here in this front, you can see this look like this little bar in the front. It's going to slide all the way down into the front of the frame, where the guide rod and everything would be inserted into the bottom of the frame here. And sorry, I've got a little bit of a cold, you guys, but it's going to bottom out on the back of the frame, and then once it bottoms out on the back of the frame, you're going to pull this front torch cut part of the receiver flush with the front of this piece of rod here. And then you're going to clamp it down with the bar and the J-hooks into this bottom platform. And you're going to do that for each little part. And like you see in the back here, you got to make sure you have this little cylinder piece in the back where the little cylinder for your stock would go. For those of you that are wanting to keep it original and have the stock on it, make sure you have an approval for an SPR, because that's what this would be. But you're going to insert that in there and then clamp it down so that everything is pulled flush with the bottom of this frame down here. And once you get that far, you're pretty much set, you guys. For the most part, this is all you need. What you're going to go into after this is you're going to go into tacking all of these little pieces in between these holes. Just put a little tack somewhere right in the middle if you can reach it. Or at the top or the bottom, whatever works best for you, but I always put mine in the middle so that I don't warp more towards the top or more towards the bottom or anything like that. And you'll do that all the way around. Space out your welding. Don't just weld all the way up on one side, because what you're going to get is as that weld's cooling off, it's going to pull your receiver out of line. So you want to put a tack and then hurry up, flip it around, put another tack on, and then go around all the way around this receiver until you get it 360 degrees, and keep doing that till you filled up all the space that needs to be welded. So that's pretty much it, you guys. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. Even if you didn't have a tutorial on this, or you didn't have a video on how to do this, that would be okay too. You know, these are pretty simple to figure out as far as the PM63 kit goes. I can't speak as to the rest of them, but it's definitely very, very well made, and I recommend it to anybody. Here we are with the finished product, you guys. I've got the slide fitted on it. Now, I took this straight out of the jig, and the slide fits straight on it. It's completely tight, no rattle, no nothing in it. It fit really, really good the first time. Now, I will contribute this to as well as really cleaning up these parts kits once you get them. Clean everything off of them, because in the long run, it's going to save you a lot of headache and a lot of trouble. But as you can see, it fits on there really tight, and the welds on it look really good. Everything came out perfectly. I'm not going to assemble any further than this, for the simple fact that going any further than this would be an illegal submachine gun, and we don't want to do that. But this is pretty much it, you guys. Turned out fantastic. Go check them out, CajunCountryArms.com, and I'll catch you in the next video.